So this is about Celtic Christianity, the Scotty, the Pict, the Angle, the Saxon, the Jute, and what happened. Um, there's the claim that the Eastern Orthodox Church, or the Orthodox Church, abandoned the Celts to be Latinized. I don't know how people in Syria and people in Syria and the East, while being, massacred by the Sasanians and then also massacred later on by the Muslims almost immediately afterwards by these people known as the Saracens or the Hagarenes or the Ishmaelites, could have even known what was going on in Ireland. Now, what happened was, I'll go through the history. Southern Britain gets conquered, right? Up to the area of Hadrian's Wall, and then there's a minor attempt, I believe the Antonine Wall is just a little bit further than that. Or it might be closer, I'm not sure. So, that happens. Constantine is raised up in England. Not England, in southern Britain, or at least stationed there when he takes over the empire, right? The empire is Christian, or not Christian, it's tolerant of all religions. It's not until after Julian the Apostate, who tries to force Christianity to be persecuted again, that Theodosius reacts and says, screw it, it's the state religion. During the 5th century, this is the 400s, Pallidus goes over there. There's a guy who we remember as Patrick who gets kidnapped by pirates from Ireland, and he learned their customs and ways, but he was a Christian at the time. He escapes, he learns Christianity more in depth, right? He gets an education, then he goes back to Ireland. Pallidus wasn't very successful because he didn't really know the culture. Patrick did. But there was other saints later on, Columba, Brigid, that, and this is typical of Orthodoxy, no destruction of the culture, bringing in as many pre-existing cultural elements, and the sacred sites, the sites that were sacred for the people remained sacred, as well as self-rule. Under Gaelic Christianity, as it's known as Celtic Christianity too, but Gaelic Christianity, Irish Christianity, for you to become a Christian, you have to free your slaves. For a king to become Christian, he has to outlaw slavery in his kingdom. Ireland, within a generation, 40 years, becomes something like 90 to 98% Christian. Christianity, the church, I should say, brings along with it reading and writing, Greek thought, the writings of the Greeks, the Romans, so architecture, sciences, technology, and when all of the West falls to the barbarians and basically goes into the Dark Ages, Ireland is a bastion of light for the rest of the world. Since they're an island, they're insulated. These people are not known as the Irish, though. They're known as the Scots, or the Scotty. And in the north, they go over to Pictland, and there's some argument, were the Picts actually Celts or not? Well, they bring the language of Ireland there, which is Gaelic, although now Gaelic is called the Gaelic spoken in Scotland and the Gaelic in Ireland is just referred to as Irish. It's pretty messed up. But they bring in the Gaelic form of Christianity, or the Irish form of Christianity, writing. And along with this, it's not done through warfare, but it's done through the fact, wait, the Christians have reading, writing, roads. They have centralization. They have one law. And this becomes very attractive to the different chieftains and kings. So it works its way down, and basically the conflict meets at around Hadrian's Wall. And we'll just past it, because you have the Latin Christianity or Roman Christianity coming up from the south. You have the pagans feeling threatened because the Anglo-Saxons, the Jutes, were not... Sorry, I skipped over the Anglo-Saxon invasion. The Anglo-Saxons, or the Angles and Saxons and Jutes, came over and within the border, basically modern-day borders of England today, massacred. Did a 90 to 100% genocide in most areas that they conquered. They wanted the land. They didn't want slaves. They slaughtered people. There's Night of the Long Knives that took place where they killed the Celtic leaders. So the English are not Celts at all. Never have been. They are Germanic people. And they worshipped the Germanic gods, the Viking gods, and Odin, Thor. So at the time that the Celtic Christianity is coming down from what we now call Scotland, which is Pickland, and up from the south, they tried to have a revision of a monotheism around Wodinism, and they started building permanent buildings because they never had that before. So kind of like modeling it after Christianity, but still keeping Woden in a pantheon below him. This lost out very badly. And Latin Christianity, since Patrick originally studied in Rome, when the Gaelic Christians, the Irish, or the Scotty, or the Scots, or the Irish, what are now the modern-day Irish and modern-day Scots, saw this, they said, oh, finally we're reunited at last. And actually they had to go throughout the cities of Europe and teach them Greek and Latin again. And they had a lot of manuscripts that the West had lost because of just, barbarian invasion from Frank and Lombard and Burgundian and Visigoth and Ostrogoth and Hun and Vandal and whatever. So they accepted these guys, and it spelled the eventual end of Gaelic Christianity, because the masses were now to be in Latin and not Gaelic. And it's sad because and the final blow, the final disconnect with the Eastern Orthodox Church, because Gaelic Christianity was very orthodox. The language of the people didn't disturb, met the people, no proselytizing, no threats of hell or of violence, kept the culture intact as much as possible, and it was in the people's own language. That's absolutely orthodox. They, even under the Latin Rite, the British Isles, while the rest fell in 1054, split with the Pope of Rome saying, every bishop is underneath me, and we can change the creeds willy-nilly, and we can just basically invent a bunch of writings and claim that they're from so-and-so that they weren't. And every other see in the East said, no way. England and Ireland did not fall, or Great Britain and Ireland didn't fall, were not separated from the Arab and Greek and Egyptian churches until 1066, until the Battle of Hastings, when the bishops were replaced by William the Bastard. now remembered as William the Conqueror. And he brought in French-speaking royalty, and the royalty was French-speaking until Edward Longshanks. Except the Normans weren't really French. They were of Viking ancestry, which was basically the same thing with the Anglo-Saxons. The Anglo-Saxons started off brutal genocidal maniacs, but then they were a fine, just farming people. And the Normans were very brutal upon the English people. I'm sure I missed a lot, so I might make a second supplementary part. Peace to you.